All right. I think we're live now. Not too sure what happened there. Let's see. Thank you to those that are watching this back. Apologize I've been missing. I really feel like I've been slacking and I just got to step it up because I can make excuses. I was going to come in and say like life's been kicking my ass, but everybody has stuff going on, right? So at the end of the day, it's about making time and better focusing. I mean, I have been focusing on improving other areas of my life, but also like I just have to be more focused in doing what I'm doing here because this is what I want to do. And if I don't do this the most, then this is not really going to go anywhere. That's just the truth. So I'm just going to keep moving forwards. Stick with me, guys. But yeah, I think we're good here. The stream is going. So let's just make sure. Ooh, get set up. Because yeah, I don't know what happened on the first one. Whoa.
Improve margins over time.
Nope. It didn't, oh, okay, there we go. So thank you again to those watching this back. Thank you to those tuning in right now. Much appreciated. There's really so much to catch up on. I'm reading all this stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I haven't really been reading it,
Thank
but
you again to those watching this back. Thank you to those tuning in right now.
Perfect. Okay. Got the side pad. Chilling. We're getting all set up here. So let's just pause this because it's like an infinite loop. But what up, Abe? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, gotta get back on the grind. Slacking big time. Jesse, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated. Yeah, guys, slacking big time. For real. But bouncing back. I'm going to start catching up tonight. You got to start somewhere. Yeah, it's just time to get started. I mean, first, obviously, I feel like the elephant in the room is what happened today with the wallet. I didn't see this coming. So, like I said, I'm trying to catch up on a lot of information because I'm also finding myself in a spot where I was kind of just trying to disconnect from things, and that just meant like less social media and just a lot of the places I kind of got my information about GameStop actively. Of course, I'm still keeping an eye on it. I'm not just like turning a blind eye to everything. Can never do that. But I've just been kind of more laid back, so I'm really trying to get caught up on everything. I think kind of like any other average individual out there, that's not always just keeping up with everything day to day. Although that's what I'm trying to do day to day. So got to keep improving. Due to the regulatory uncertainty of the crypto space, GameStop has decided to remove its iOS and Chrome extension wallets from the market on November 1st, 2023. Didn't see it coming. Gotta be honest, didn't see it coming. But it does make sense to me seeing what the Coinbase CEO said today. I think his name's Brian Armstrong, where he was basically like, yeah, before the SEC started to sue us, press charges, whatever exactly they're doing, they basically came to us and said to stop trading everything but Bitcoin. Imagine Coinbase had came out and said that would have been nuts at the time. I mean, I think their stock probably would have went down like 50% or something nuts, like an insane reaction. And having said that, it's like, well, what has maybe the SEC said behind closed doors? Not necessarily to GameStop, but when there's chatter amongst like executives just across an industry or across something specific such as this under regulatory under a regulatory evolving situation, whatever you want to call it, it makes sense to pivot, right? So that's like the positive way to look at it. It makes sense to pivot because if this is going to be an issue, you might as well address it now. You don't want to have to deal with it later. Potential legal stuff, that's where things get expensive. So I think you want to avoid that. However, on the other hand, understandably, a lot of people are a little frustrated and upset. Not a great explanation. This is just short and sweet. I mean, not so sweet, maybe better. But it's just short and very to the point, and I think people want a little bit more, which I understand. But with that, I say let's give it a little more time. Maybe we'll kind of hear more. But that seems to be the chatter across the board. But this is just me like catching up here. So again, not a move I necessarily saw coming, but is this something then gets written off in some way for taxes? Like on some bright side, I don't know. I saw someone mention that today, and then also maybe there's some upkeep spending, a little bit less spending. Those are the plus sides. But of course, I mean, it's a big part of what they're doing. They're still doing GameStop Player, and that's still, I think, going to be the big thing, and the NFT marketplace will tie into that more. But evidently, they don't want to be involved with the actual ownership right now, but they want to still facilitate it kind of the same way. They don't want to be involved in crypto itself, so they're not holding any of it on its balance sheet. But everything I'm saying right now are just my initial thoughts on reading everything else like you guys. So that's just where my head's at the moment in time. Good to see you, Frank the Tank, chugging beers. Yes, Jesse. Yeah, no, that was a little vacation. I mean, I wasn't on vacation that whole time, I'm gonna be honest, but that few days was awesome. And I was like, all right, well, I was buzzing. I'm like, I gotta get some content. I haven't done anything in a minute, but I'm gonna bounce back, bounce back. Keith Gill stock, TUP up 450% in a week. Abe from Weeble, I don't know about that deep value. I don't know if Abe's on Weeble, but I don't know about TUP. But I'm happy for you if you made money trading it, absolutely. But what should we get to next? So this is the first thing, but let's jump right in here. Had some stuff pulled up because I was like looking on the last month of Superstock, just what's at the top. I mean, I know all the controversy continues there and everything, but to me, I'm just always looking for information. That's just where my head's at. I'm looking and observing everything. That's what I'm really starting to realize. Even if you like feel a certain way, you have to try really, really hard to be non-opinionated when reading, if that makes sense. Like I'm trying to really understand like what is the worst case scenario for GameStop, or how bad could this truly be in any scenario, or like anything else I'm looking at, any piece of information. I'm really trying to go in unbiased. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But it's so much easier said than done, of course. Like I could say it all the time and I keep trying to improve on it, but it's like you can't like just do it that easy. Like I wish it was as easy as, when you say it, you just do it. But I thought this was interesting. So I saw Ryan Cohen, he tweeted, CEO of Microsoft. He's like, obviously they're trying to set something up, so it's interesting, right? I saw it, I thought, okay. But then somebody posted this. I didn't see this. So just doing some catch up work on Superstonk, like top posts from the past month or something like that. I saw this and I'm like, oh, well, yeah, if Satya doesn't want to work with you, Ross will. So I think that's interesting that another company reached out, and it does show you like it's competitive, and even if you don't necessarily have a positive result in one direction, things shift, and any great company that's been built has always gone through hardships or times of controversy. So the idea I'm formulating right now, talking about Ryan Cohen and the GameStop wallet shutting down and just things as a whole, some executives leaving. Like I haven't really looked too much into why Sajia, her name slipped my head. The CFO just resigned. So what exactly is going on there? These are all questions you have to ask. But what I think now, and the idea I'm building in real time, is it's about what they do from here, right? If from here they struggle and everything falls apart, right? That's bad. It's like, okay, well, it's all fucked. But I mean, or that's not what I'm saying, right? That's like the downside. The other side is 5 years from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever your time frame is that you want to look at it from. You look back and you go, wow, there's a lot of uncertainty at that time. If you looked at it from an outside perspective, they're getting rid of all these executives, they're getting rid of the wallet. Oh my God, everything's going to crap. Ryan Cohen's just taking over everything. But it's like, to me, what we see in the future will be like, wow, that was, a tough time, an uncertain time. And then also, ideally, and what I believe personally, of course, you're welcome to disagree, stock price appreciates because its value is higher, because its confidence is higher. The market recognizes it's worth more because it's more certain. So, and that's just a very general thing to say, but that's kind of where my head's at with everything going on. This is a time of controversy. Like I wouldn't say it's like controversy. I still see what they're doing. Like I still see NFT marketplace being integrated into GameStop Player, and I think it's just for digital asset ownership. And then still the name of NFT is staying, but that's what the underlying thing is. And I think, yeah, just as a whole, we'll continue to see more energy towards Player, and I think that's what we have to see because they do still need to grow. But obviously, the big thing to look for the next quarter coming up is, are they profitable? And I think it's possible. I've been kind of bouncing back and forth. I was throwing some numbers around. I was thinking maybe not, but I'm thinking maybe so. Because you have to keep in mind they raised the price of GameStop Pro. So instead of being 15, now it was 25, when they kind of switched up. By the way, it is Pro Week, so be sure to shop GameStop. But yeah, that's kind of some of my most recent thoughts. And something else to pull up here is her pay. I was breaking this down pretty recently. So she's going to forfeit a lot of shares. She didn't even make it to October 23. So a lot of this restricted stock isn't going to be granted now. So what I would have to research is, or have to figure out over time, since they're not vesting, how does that affect the balance sheet, the cash flow statement, intermediately or medium term, long term, all those sorts of things. So that's going to be something to follow up on. And it is interesting because she recently just did a piece called like CFO Talks or something like that. So also, I wanted to point out because I had GameStop's investor relations here. They did file it and they formally said she resigned. So she chose to leave, not necessarily let go, but why did she want to leave? I don't know. That's the question, right? That's something we might not quite ever know, but we can only try and piece together clues. And of course, there's the people saying it's Teddy and Bed Bath and Sears and this and that. Sure, maybe. I don't know. I don't think so personally. But yeah. So, oh, those were Matt Furlong sells. Here we go. GameStop on July 21st, 2023 was informed by Diana Sadejej. I'm not even trying to say her last name. Informed by Diana, the company's chief financial officer, that she will resign from such position effective August 11th, 2023. Ms. Sajia's resignation was not because of any disagreement with the company on any matter relating to the company's operations, policies, or practices, including accounting principles and practices. On July 27, 2023, in connection with her resignation, the board appointed Daniel Moore as the company's principal accounting officer and interim principal financial officer effective August 11, 2023. Mr. Moore, 40 years old, has served as the company's vice president, corporate global controller since September 2022, and as vice president, global tax as vice president of global tax since July 2021, since joining the company in June 2021. And he served at a couple other places, so he's been with the company since kind of all the action, so to speak, started with Ryan Cohen. So I think that's kind of important to note. It seems like maybe they're just slimming down. Could that be it? Could they be replacing some of these positions? We will have to see. We really will have to see. That is definitely something to be thought about and food for thought. No family relationship exists between Mr. Moore and any of the company's directors or other executives. There are no arrangements between Mr. Moore and any other pursuant to which he's elected an official. Wait, there are no other arrangements between Mr. Moore and any other person pursuant to which he was selected as an officer, nor are any transactions to which the company is or was a participant in which Mr. Moore has a material interest subject to disclosure. Other item 404A. Okay, that was a mouthful. So I believe he's not being compensated in shares. That's what I'm first reading that as. That's what I would have to kind of pull up. I don't want to get ChatGPT going. No, that's right. That'll have to be a follow-up thing. I'll leave it open for future me. But something to definitely look ahead at is earnings. I have GameStop notebook. Start using Evernote. Hey, you good-looking people. Fresh Maker, good to see you. I think that GameStop could come back with its wallet later when the rules for cryptocurrencies are set. I definitely think it's possible. Definitely possible, Fresh Maker. That's an excellent point. But yeah, I was kind of saying earlier on, I don't know. I mean, like, if it avoids a problem in the future, I see it, and they can still make what they're trying to do work. It's not that it's just completely done. They're getting rid of everything, scratching everything, or so it doesn't seem. I think that would be a wild turn of events. But keep in mind, earnings are coming up, and still have a chance to pretty much break even at least, possibly turn a slight profit, possibly a slight loss. I don't expect to see a huge decline. I think that would be pretty negative, but I don't expect to see that. So yeah, I think there's so much to be seen and understood. And I was kind of saying a little bit before, I don't know if you were here, but basically it's a time of controversy, right, so to speak, or tough times, however you want to speak it. Tough times make strong leaders. So I think that's where we could be at. So is it also maybe them slimming down? So lots to be seen here. So yeah, here are some of my earnings estimates. I think I was doing this a few weeks back, one of my most previous streams. Oh, this is when I was kind of breaking it down. I don't think I labeled estimates on it. So net sales factors, cost of sales factors, gross profit, SG&A, ideally 335 million. That's, I think, the number I had kind of shot down. So maybe now even closer to 330 million with some of these moves. But I really have to check on, like I said, I haven't been fully caught up with everything, so I don't want to start saying, oh, this is going to happen and then that's going to happen, or this is why this is this way, because I haven't been fully caught up yet. So I have to kind of check back more. So yeah, I think ideally a third of a net loss, that seems pretty fair. Obviously, profit would be much better. I'm going to say that. Okay, so this is also going to factor in. I forgot about this, but that's very small relative to their earnings for the entire quarter. Then I'm also trying to build this out, and if you guys have any ideas on this, definitely let me know. I'm really trying to build like a research like facility, so to speak, or just really have easy access. Like, oh, I remember I was like looking that up. Like, that's why I started using this OneNote thing, or sorry, Evernote. Microsoft's thing is OneNote, but you have to pay for that, so I'm not trying to do that. But just like, important links like their SEC filings, just easily click to patents. So I can just come on here, boom, boom, boom. But I want something, a little more like loose than Microsoft Word, so to speak, or just like a Google Doc or like plain document. So just trying to do a lot more of that organizing. But I also had pulled up some random tweets I saw and other posts on Superstock that I just thought were interesting as of late. If you know, you know. Good things come to those who wait. Anticipation is making me wait. So, shout out to Vader Dirt or Dirt Vader on Twitter, or sorry, X now. That's rebranding since the last time I've streamed. But Ryan Cohen had tweeted challenge to a thumb war. So I just thought this was interesting. Not to, people could say, oh, this is straight tinfoil. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. But it's certainly interesting, and it's a great acknowledgement. I'm not sure if he found this himself or saw it somewhere else, but very interesting. So there's GameStop board member Yang Zhu. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And it's what you need to know about Greg Abel, Warren Buffett's successor at Berkshire Hathaway. So this is at a Kraft Heinz board meeting of some kind, or this image, I'm not exactly sure. So let's see. Berkshire owns, I know they own most of that. But let's see what this says exactly again. Always a pleasure to host our global leadership team and directors to show off what makes our international zone so unique and full of possibility. I want to say thank you to everyone at the Kraft Heinz Company who helped make the last few days special. Particularly our international leadership team for taking us a journey to the markets, bringing us behind the scenes on our people strategy, and sharing our big Heinz growth plans. I'm ending the week so proud of our zone's cultural and culinary diversity and our amazing teams who do great work for our business and brand. What an incredible week. Thank you, Rafa, and your leadership team for the immersion. Exciting growth plans everywhere in our international markets. So, again, that doesn't necessarily mean there's any connection, but it is interesting. She's in the image and she does reply to it. So, again, I'm not on the exact LinkedIn, so maybe there's everyone replying on there. See, obviously, there's a lot of engagement, like 391 likes, collapse, and hearts, whatever Facebook does. I don't even know. I don't never barely even use Facebook in my life. I used it like a long time ago, but also relatively close to each other at the table. Again, could mean nothing. Could literally mean nothing, but it's interesting because that's a very close position, and close position to Warren Buffett, and something random, right? Again, tinfoil, if you want to call it that, but something random that I always have in the back of my mind about Berkshire. Berkshire Dark Pool. Or, what is it? X chart? Is that it? Oh, I don't know what this is. Okay. I thought that was it. What is it? Deep value. Yep, exactly, Abe, exactly. So, shit, I just lost my total train of thought. Oh, yeah, yeah. That thing with Berkshire. Or, Okay. Off exchange trades. What's that site? Someone help me out right now if you know what I'm talking about. That shows like percentage of off exchange. Oh, I think if I type this in, it'll come up. So it would be interesting if there's something with Berkshire. Oh, okay. Maybe here. But basically, ever since January 2021, there's been a large amount of off exchange trading for Berkshire, which I just find very interesting. And it doesn't, again, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Could it just be a coincidence? But how do you, where the fuck is off exchange? Or Berkshire B trades by exchange today. I don't know what I have to type in. I used to be able to pull this up all the time. It's been so long. Oh, Berkshire B. What the heck? Off exchange trading volume today. Have faith, guys. I'm going to find it. Okay. Sure, let's just start trying these. No. Oh my god. This is not it. It's driving me nuts that I can't find it. Maybe this site will have it. Nope. I don't know where it is. Maybe I need to go to... I don't know. But I know I have a picture from a long time ago. It's basically so much of the or so much of the volume each day is off exchange, and it was never. Oh wait. Maybe it's because it's Berkshire Hathaway stock trading volume. Maybe because I'm typing like that. I don't know, guys. Am I just being an idiot right now? It's possible. Come on, give me one of those like data websites. Oh, yes. I think it might be this. Come on. No. Um, volume type. That's what I'm looking for. Still not it. RC wants a thumb war with Warren Buffett. Makes me wonder what's behind the tweet. Oh, Jackson's. Let me show you where I was at before. And shout out to this guy, Dirt Vader. He had this on Twitter. So that's board member of GameStop right there. And that's the success for Warren Buffett. And what this reminded me of, and she commented on his LinkedIn post of them there about like exciting to work with them. But you know, that could be just a general thing. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. But what I'm also thinking about with this is like, why is there so much off exchange volume with Berkshire? Right? Again, total tinfoil hat. But imagine you need a hedge, right? Against, or you need like an other side if you're having some complex equity position that no average individual understands because you have a lot of short interest in a particular stock and you just don't quite want it to be publicly shorted, right? Allegedly, theoretically, maybe people just talk about this stuff, right? So if that were the case, and you have a guy like Warren Buffett who's no problem loaning out his stock infinitely, you would have to be doing, I mean, again, I don't even know how all this is exactly structured, so like, don't even listen to me. But I'm just saying, theoretically, right, all of this stuff, if this was all going on, that's kind of how you do it, right? You'd borrow like the stock, like one of the biggest companies, will loan out as much stock, they have very limited volume, it has such high value, like against on the other side of the trade, like, and again, I don't know if that's exactly, but why is so much of the volume off exchange? Like, that's where this thought process comes from me. But maybe that's just craziness. But I can't seem to find like off exchange volume. I don't know why. Don't know why. off exchange trading volume today. Let's see. Maybe it's Burke A trading volume by exchange. No, it's crazy. It won't come up. Oh, is this it? Maybe I should go to the next page. I'm just being lazy. No, it doesn't have the volume. Ah. Maybe it's dark pool data. Oh, it's literally just on Fintel, and I'm a dumbass this whole time. It's that easy. Not even short interest. I just want to see the trading volume. I swear, guys, it used to be out there. Alright, I'm just gonna go to the one before. What was it? Berkshire A trading volume by exchange, and we'll just click through a couple pages. I swear this is a thing. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. This is a thing. Did I check this one already? I don't fucking even remember now. Oh my gosh. Let's see, Berkshire. Why for that particular day? Oh my gosh. Nope, yeah, this is the one from before. Yeah, it's crazy. I can't freaking find it. Oh my gosh. Does anybody have, if anybody has a link to this, I'm going to move on from this from now, but if anybody has the link to like the website, you know, when you can look up how much of GameStop's volume's off exchange, I want to look at Berkshire A's historical off exchange volume. I don't know why it's not coming up. Is it because I'm using Brave maybe? I don't even fucking know. Crazy. Hey Tetron, hope all is well. I think it'll reach a point with the price where it just explodes and isn't able to be suppressed anymore. Thoughts on this? Keep up the good work. Headstamp, thank you for being here. Much appreciated. I think it's possible, but it's one of those things we don't truly know. And I feel like also how things unfold, we won't quite know. But I do agree that there will be a point in time where the stock is extremely volatile. But is that just one point in time where it's extremely volatile and then it kind of slows down again, and then there's some other good news or some other good earnings report for the stock, and then extremely volatile again during another time period? So it really, really depends, but I think as there's more pressure, it could start to happen fast. Like, I think also I'm saying this from the perspective of I've become very zen and patient and just so focused on the value. But there is, in my personal opinion, a reality out there where it starts to go up very, very fast. But that also always means, in one sense or another, it go down very, very fast. But then it's going to go back up very, very fast and down. So I guess what I'm saying as a whole is you never truly know. But I do think there's a certain point. It's definitely a possibility. That's what I'm saying. Because also, every time there is like a cycle of some kind or a new upward pressure, it really just seems to not be able to go past a certain level. And it's like, oh, this might be really bad. Like, for example, Parabolic, $30. Like, that was, you know, some baloney. And it went over $30 for one single day and then crashed straight down. And then also, volume is declining each day. That's actually something else I wanted to bring up. So thank you for bringing me on this tangent. I didn't even pull up just GameStop's volume. Very low today. And it's just continuing to be low. And personally, I believe the stock is becoming increasingly illiquid from DRS because simply, if you have your shares on ComputerShare, you're more likely than not touching them because in general, when you look at an individual who holds shares at a transfer agent, they're not touching those shares most likely. They're just letting them be. Of course, they always could. Any random person out there could. But in general, I think that gives you an idea of XX as of right now, million shares are not going to be traded. So if you're heavily betting against the stock, or in general, there's just not a lot of shares trading, because you also have to think there's people with shares in IRAs, not DRS, unable to DRS around the world, ETFs, all these different things. So there's only so many shares out there, right? Right? That's what they say. There's only so many shares out there, right? There's only 304 million. So pressure will mount if individuals continue to like the stock and directly register it, which it just seems like a lot of people also have the perspective of long-term investing and just adding shares when they have a chance. And that's where I'm at personally. In the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get in fast. This could happen any moment, any moment. And yes, that's still kind of the case, but at the same time, I know where I'm at as an investor, so I've started to really just, as I can, just continue to add. Some weeks I do, some weeks I don't. Like right now, I'm looking, I'm like, it's a pretty good price. Pretty good price. And anytime you've got it under 20, I feel like is like, wow, I was able to get under 20 at that time. And just look at some of the most recent volume. So dry. I mean, I barely even watch the stock price move each day, because why do you have to bother? It's not even really moving. This last high volume day was last earnings season. And by the way, I said in the past and I'll say it again, as long as I can get the time off, next scheduled earnings report, and as soon as GameStop says it, I'll request it right away. I'm going to request to have half a day at work so I can come stream live as everything's going down with the earnings reports. But yeah, 3.3 million, the most in recent history here out of this whole thing, and that's nothing. If you think about it, pre-stock dividend, pre-stock split, that's under a million. And I remember at that time, anytime it was under a million, it's like, wow, that's pretty low volume. And obviously, it was a more volatile time period, more people trading, more people in the hype in general, I would say, or just thinking it's going to happen tomorrow, or any of the people that have been shaken out by like the negative media, right? I would say they've shook the tree, and people have either hopped off or just clung on for their life, right? It's a weird analogy, but point is, the media machine, is always still running, but I think individuals know how they felt about the stock and have decided by now since that time period. So that's, in general, less volume. And then over time now, I think though, the increasing or rising amount of days with less volume, or just volume declining. That's the simplest way to say it. I believe that's an impact of DRS, because it's individuals removing shares from their brokerage account into their own name. And in general, that just means they're probably not trading it. Again, they always could. A random person always could go sell some shares, right? Who knows? But it's a good general indicator, because I think for even myself, I have shares in IRAs, my traditional and my Roth. So those shares aren't being touched, right? I'm not accounting for any of the volume with those shares, and they're not directly registered. So there's always going to be people without directly registered shares as well. And that's just for the volume. And of course, there's always ETFs and trading and this and that. There's always going to be things with the volume. But I think as a whole, the lack of volume is an indicator of DRS. But more importantly, it means the stock will be more volatile because there's just less shares being exchanged. And that's the OG thesis of mother of all short squeezes. When you just have so much demand and so little supply, it's truly a supply and demand situation, because that's all shares trading is, right? But then over time, lots of individuals have discovered how market maker really works, and the power and capability our regulatory framework allows for these companies to operate with, and potentially do things that make the market look like one way when it's not. So it's like there's always bids and asks, but maybe there really isn't as many as it seems, or somebody's going to quickly move it when its price starts moving. Like, there's all these different algos and strategies and things tons of people can't see behind the scenes. So much of it on computers, some of it between individuals, handshakes behind closed doors, all these different things, right? So, having said all that, that's where I always try and focus on the company. As long as the company's succeeding, all of that can start to sprout afterwards, because if the company's driving forward and succeeding and delivering value over time, anything underground or in the water starts to get hot, right? and it's gonna start bubbling. It's gonna sizzle, and heat rises. So yeah, science. But it's gonna be that. Yeah, that's the whole idea of it, right? I'm just speaking what I think individuals think. No financial advice, of course. I'm just saying what I think out here, kind of talking about everything as a whole. But also just zooming back at the chart, right? Like it's been so flat for so long, right? Stock has been really since the start of the year pretty sideways. I mean, it's up, right? Because we were kind of in this double bottom period right here, boom, boom. But for the longest while, I mean, it was just getting knocked down, knocked down, knocked down. It really hasn't been knocked down since the start of 2023. Of course, that's partly the market as a whole. Definitely people are going to say that. But there's plenty of stocks that are still struggling right now or still really haven't made any moves despite most of the market moving up. And also, you always have to remember one of the first lessons my grandpa taught me in just investing and knowing stocks. Any stock or anytime the market goes up very fast, you always have to remember it could go down just as fast in that same time period. Just the same way it could go down very quick in a short time period, then it'll go up very quick in a short time period. Or even over this like weird extended period we're in right now, or over the past month or two, it just feels like every single day the market's going up, and I feel like it's just because it has certainty, and that's like kind of the craziest thing about the market. It's all really a matter of certainty and uncertainty. I think the stock market as a whole, and that's kind of like even though interest rates are ridiculously high, and people are like, how is the market doing so well? It's like the market has understood, right? That's what they say, like understood the interest rates, like they're being priced in already. The market already knew, and the market like certainty. Whereas if just suddenly they start hiking again, which is a very real possibility, I feel like that a lot of individuals and the markets as a whole seem to be kind of writing off. So if we see another hike the next meeting where it seems like, oh, things are paused right now, right? Then all of a sudden the market starts to struggle. And again, we're in a time period where great companies versus good companies, great companies can withstand, and then good companies can potentially fall apart, type of thing. So tough times make for tough leaders because already in the sense of all the other executives and wallet situation with GameStop, you could say it's like tough times as well. But yeah, that's just a complete GameStop rant. And I think anybody who likes a stock long term would love an opportunity to get in below 20. So if the market wants to react negatively to raising rates, fine, it is what it is. Stock price goes below 20. I have a great buying opportunity because I like the stock. And on top of it, the company I like has a lot of cash to accumulate a lot of interest on and just help their cash flow statement overall. Of course, they can never simply rely on that, but it certainly fucking helps, right? That's for sure. My bad, guys. I'm cursing so much today. I'm slacking. I'm trying to usually keep it PG-13. But I think the volume is so low because most investors are waiting for GameStop to do something, higher sales, or plan for the future. Excellent point, Freshmaker. I think DRS is definitely part of it, but definitely those reasons you just mentioned are absolutely it too, and just people wanting to just like the stock or just see where it goes, and maybe even some people are trading, right, swing trading it. Like I said, it's kind of been in this range for a while, so nothing too big has happened. But even in the past year, soon after we passed August, we're gonna be a situation where this 52-week high doesn't look so bad anymore. I feel like that's always like an eyesore. And also just perception of people too. I feel like it just kind of helps, but that's not something actually that really really matters. That's just random observation. And it has gone negative beta again. I mean, recently the market's been going up, right? Like I said, the past month, and I think shout out Fitzy, big homie. He had posted about this, I believe, on Twitter, where GameStop just started inversing the market the past month. Let me pull it up right here. Just do the S&P. So yeah, this is the year to date, I believe. Yep, about the same. That's funny. We should make this one a different color. Make it easier. Oh, okay. All right. I mean, sure. Just do SPY. Same thing. Purple pink. Okay, so that's year to date. Pretty much the same. And then 3 months. It's kind of moving with the market, right? I mean, it wasn't, or no, it was outperforming the market. I'm sorry. And then here, kind of had the earnings period, right, of volatility, and then insiders buying. And here you are where it kind of stops going up, right? This is GameStop in blue. Then the pink, the market just kind of continues to chug forwards, whereas GameStop continues to chug on down. But then you go to the last month and you see that especially. So GameStop's down 8.5% in the past month, whereas the market's up 3.3%. So just something interesting there. Does it necessarily mean anything? No. Does it mean the market's waiting for GameStop's next earnings? Probably, kind of. But at the same time, it's just an interesting observation. And I think, well, if we're in a situation where the market starts to decline, it'd be nice if the beta remains negative and the stock starts to move up or the market's declining type of deal. But it's interesting to look over the past 2 years too, because January 2021 is farther than this chart shows now, because it has been quite some time. So the market's really up 4.4% in 2 years. It's pretty crazy. But still, GameStop much outperforming. And then let's see on the all-time basis. Let's see what it gives me for fun. Oh, since GameStop was around. Since 2002. Okay, so GameStop still outperformed the market all time. So it's just a fun little stat there. And this is back when they had dividends. So it never really got that dividend too high. I mean, it was doing well for a while, but I do really think one day again they're going to do dividends. It just makes a lot of sense, and I think it's a great reason to just continue to hold the stock. And when people talk about wanting to hold for a really, really long time, a dividend really helps that after several years, I would say. So I think that's something the company's going to explore, but only after they're really, really just thriving forwards. So they got some time before they get there. So obviously, it's been a bumpy ride, but ups and downs are part of any business as a whole, and definitely one that's turning around. And I think Larry Chang described it really well in the CNBC thing about Ryan Cohen. He was on there. He was one of the few people actually talking positively about Ryan Cohen, where they spun this whole story, how he went dark and screwed over the Bed Bath people because he used his status as a meme king, right? And that's what making of a meme king. That's why they made it that documentary name. But regardless, Larry Chang said on there, people think turning a company around is like turning a car around, when it's more like turning around an entire pirate ship, because you got to change the wind in the sails, you got to turn the whole wheel, you got to change out the crew, you got to change everything, right? Whereas your car, you just do a quick 3-point turn. Like, people think of it like that. So it's, challenges being overcome. And I was kind of saying in the beginning, there's going to be ups and downs. That's the reality. And I'm loving every minute of this, especially, being back streaming, feeling good right now. So I really appreciate you guys, and gonna keep trying to improve. I gotta be more consistent. I think that's my biggest way to improve, and also stop saying I'm gonna improve and just fucking do it, because talk is cheap, takes money to buy whiskey, as Ryan Cohen says. Agree, Freshmaker. Yes, Jackson's, by the way, thank you for being here, much appreciated. But yeah, I think I'm going to keep pretty short and sweet today, because I really want to actually research after this and try and drop a video. See if there's anything else I missed here. Anything I see interesting on Twitter right now, I kind of just try and send to myself. Let's see, or sorry, X. I start calling it X.com. Or just X. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird to get used to, but Wendy, what up? Thank you for being here. Let's see. Oh, okay. So the reason I had this pulled up, I want to quickly touch on this. I don't know anything about this Mario guy. I don't even know if this, excuse me, I don't even know if he's good or he's bad, or my point is I don't have an opinion here, but I want to read what this guy said. And if I wanted to cause like commotion, right? Allegedly, this is how I would do it. I would follow this playbook with bot accounts if I wanted to talk about meme stocks, right? And then just create these narratives, right? Because I mean, I also think there's real people involved in these stocks. I'm not saying it's all bots, but when you see a lot of NFT profile pictures or GameStop logos or Ryan Cohen's saying like I hold both and this and that, it's like you can't help but scratch your head, right? But of course, there are people like both. I'm not saying it's impossible, But sometimes things just seem a little fishy to me. That's all I'm saying. I'm just presenting the idea. First, you need to establish a crowd of fake followers. Set up, run Amazon servers, run fake accounts. Fake accounts that have stolen, yes, leaked databases. These random accounts that come out of nowhere that talk about these like the next big GME, right? And then make sure to look too real. So they should all promote the same companies. Add some NFT profile pictures. Oh, I don't want to play this. Um, NFT profile pictures, AI generated images, etc. Real enough for people to not ask questions. Okay, now that you got that, okay, whatever. Yeah, just use your other numbers like for other tweets. So it's not exactly, but do you see what I'm saying? How like it's not impossible. People say, "Oh, yeah, like everyone's just talking crap." It's like there's ways to do this if you're kind of like skimming through this right here. Bad do you actually good? Well, that's is it really bad? It doesn't matter as long as you have a history of scamming fraud. People, different videos. Okay, I don't know about that. So yeah, again, I don't know about the actual guy, but and they're suing or whatever. But the point is, it's not that hard to set up bot accounts, and with AI and everything now, and it's really hard to trust, what you read and see. That's kind of my point there. And just it's possible that there's not as many people as you may perceive. And I personally don't think that's the case with GameStop because then people say, "Oh, well, GameStop, that's the case." There's all these people on Superstonk, but not that many people actually are active. I'm not active, but I love GameStop and I'm active in holding it, so to speak. So I don't know. I think it's just hard. We live in a world right now. It's very hard to even believe what you see with your eyes because everything's a screen, and there's so much AI and just this and that. Like you don't even know. It's like there's too much extreme on both sides of opinions of literally anything, and I think that is the media machine's ultimate design with stocks, get you to think, oh, this stock, that stock, you just all over the place, trade, 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 trade. You move your money all around, and who profits off that, right? The market makers, the brokerages, and same with the media, where it's like, you think this, oh, we think that, everybody hates each other, like, and it's just arguing, and just creating chaos, and just everybody like just wanting to argue about whatever it is. As long as you have an opinion, you gotta share it, you gotta be all about it, right? So that's why I'm trying not to just get too engaged in all that because I feel like then I'm the victim of the system where it's like I'm falling into all the negative energy and it's like that's also why I'm trying to disconnect from social media sometimes. But regardless, that's a random rant. Let's get back to it. Did you mention Argon CFO? Yeah, briefly, Freshmaker. I was saying, yeah, I don't know too much what's going on there, but I did touch on the SEC filing where they did file it, where it said she will resign effective August 11th. She had mentioned it on July 21st to them, although it was announced July 27th, and then they promoted this guy, Mr. Moore, from within. So I was saying maybe it's just a matter of downsizing, because it said the resignation was not because of any disagreement with the company or any matter relating to the company's operations, policy, practices, including accounting principles and practices. So yes, it could still have been her choice, but I don't feel like it was that negative, or I don't know, maybe she never expected to be there a long time. I probably not. Maybe there's something better for her. She's an opportunity, but I think Ryan Cohen sees this as an opportunity to like, okay, well, we can still operate as is, but who knows? They might hire these positions again. But when you're just continuously cutting costs and just wanting to manage effect and wanting to work effectively, I would rather have a team of 7 over a team of 10. If that team of 7 is way more in touch and just on the same wavelength, so to speak. I mean, of course, more hands is always going to help, but at the same time, too many chefs in the kitchen, potentially. So we won't truly know, but it's possible we'll get some breadcrumbs in the future. So those are just kind of some additional thoughts. I did touch on it a little bit before, though. And then I thought this was, annoyingly comical. In a rare moment of bipartisan action, both Democrats and Republicans voted against the amendment that would stop trading by Congress. The first time they can come together is like, oh, wait a minute, we would all stop making money? Yeah, we're not voting for this. This is crazy. Craziness. What a world. I've been tracking congressional trading for the last few years, and there have been so many proposals to better regulate politicians' financial dealings, but they are hardly ever called to vote. Until Congress gets around to regulating itself, feel free to track congressional trading here. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the reality where it's like that's how accounts like Nancy Pelosi stock tracker like blows up. And people are like, oh, she bought it, guys. It's time to get in. Like friends will start texting me that and stuff, and like group chats like, oh, Nancy Pelosi just bought some of this. It's time to get back in. And it's like crazily true, and it's unbelievable. That's how it works, right? But you know, it's the world we live in. Congress goes on record supporting fraud and limiting swap data in discrimination to public comment. Posted to S73210. These people are the people that represent us. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I read this. I was like, dang. Dear Chair Gensler, we write with respect to the Securities and Exchange Commission. Oh, Securities and Exchange Commission to propose rulemakings pertaining to security-based swaps and security loans. In order to help the communities we represent succeed, regulators must support the U.S. economy by promoting liquid and efficient markets. We are concerned that the SEC's proposals to publicly disclose positions in security-based swaps and security loans on a loan-by-loan basis could impair market liquidity and hinder SEC's core mission to maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets. Very interesting. How would publicly disclosing these positions impair market liquidity? That's very concerning. During your testimony before the House Financial Services Committee on April 18, 2023, we were encouraged to hear that the SEC is taking in consideration the bipartisan letter of these proposals from the 117th Congress. We write to clarify that the approach suggested in the letter is consistent with relevant portions of the Dodd-Frank Act, Section 763 related to SBS, and Section 984B related to securities lending, and Congress' intent when writing this landmark law. We support regulatory changes aimed at increasing transparency to give regulators the tools they need to survey the markets and ensure they are fair, efficient, competitive, while intentioned. We believe the proposals could comprise these objectives by releasing sensitive and potentially misleading information to the public. In order to avoid unintentional negative consequences, we encourage the Commission to adopt an approach that requires reporting solely for regulatory purposes when finalizing these proposals. This would allow the Commission to study the collected data and consult stakeholders before making any determinations about the specifics of a public decimation regime. Consistent with the Dodd-Frank Act. Yeah, baloney to me. Absolutely baloney. Hey, Tetron, howdy y'all. I stand with Ryan Cohen and G America. Jay, thank you for being here. Yeah, honestly, you know, there's, like I was kind of saying before, there's ups and downs in this whole journey, right, with GameStop. And I think absolutely right now is a challenging time, so to speak. I think as a whole, GameStop players still coming out. Ryan Cohen's still at the head of things, steering the ship in the right direction. Obviously, earnings will be very, very interesting to see to come up. But I think as a whole, they're still moving in the right direction. They're working with digital assets. You know, NFT name is stained, but that's fine. I think the marketplace is going to integrate to GameStop Player, and then it will be digital assets. So we'll continue to see how it exactly happens. But I was kind of saying before how it's like a tough time for the company, but tough times make tough leaders. So I think this is a great time we might look at in the future in 2026, July 12th, 2026, just because I have this document pulled up here. Let's say it's that date, and I'm streaming right now, and I'm like, damn, on July 12th, or sorry, it's July 31st, 2023, what a crazy time it was for the stock. You know, it was at $22, and CFO had just recently left. They just got rid of the GameStop wallet. A lot of people were confused, a little frustrated at times, and now we're here. So I think this is a great time for the company to really prove what it's made of, so to speak. But as for me, I like the stock. Exactly, Freshmaker. Couldn't have said it better. A wise man did once say that. That is for sure. But yeah, I'm going to keep adding to my notes here. And then I'm going to add a big notification here. Or it's bold. Size 36. I'll make it like purple. Resigned. I'm going to say whatever as of her last date. So I guess that's her last day, August 11, 2023. which is 12 days away. Damn. So look at that. She was literally just with the company for a year. Very interesting. So, if I'm not mistaken, previously they had another turnover at CFO. So, could it be Ryan Cohen has such a high standard that some of these individuals are like, damn, I didn't really know this much pressure was going to be on cutting costs, but he's so attention to detail. If you watch anything previous about Ryan Cohen, especially to everything happening with GameStop, all the people said he was very, very persistent and very, very hard worker. So I can imagine him catching very small things and being like, we can't miss this again. We need to make these numbers, which is what you need. But I could see how maybe, someone after years, like, this isn't for me. Like, I'm not as in love with the company as you are type of thing. Because at the end of the day, he has the largest ownership by far. But of course, her interests were aligned. And if she stayed with the company, look how many shares she would have vested over time. So she missed out on thousands of shares. She only got the 842. So we'll see if she keeps those. She might wind up selling them. So October 1st. Oh, yeah. So she was with the company longer. Yes, I forgot. So most of the shares, though, still only vested very slowly, like the first 5%. So her structure is most of the shares would be vesting. So yeah, she got some of these right here. Again, like about 1,000, but most of the vesting structure was through a longer period of time with the company. So ideally, I just realized, oh no, this is 6 months apart. I thought it was doubled up, but sorry, got distracted there. So overall, yeah, she did get granted some stock upon her promotion. So she's taking it and running. Maybe she still wants the stock and see where the company's going. So I think that's a great indicator. I'm pretty sure George Sherman. I haven't even looked in a while. The previous CEO, right, a long time back, he had a lot of shares, and I don't think he's ever sold them. And he just owns that and like AutoZone or something like that. I've checked. I think. I don't know. Let's see. Fintel. Let's see. Can you just straight up search people? Or I'll just start with GME. I haven't checked in a while. Let's check it out. We also should remember that Ryan Cohen is the biggest shareholder. He will do everything he can to make the stock price go up. Exactly, Freshmaker, exactly. And one of the most bullish things and consistent things overall, I think for me, has been the fact that he's never sold a single share and he's only held on this whole time. It's just incredible. And I mean, the fact that he bought more is very, very telling to me. That he's like, I am not messing around with anything else. And personally, I think with Bed Bath, he realized this isn't where I want all. Like, I don't want to be too scattered, and there'd be a lot of work here. So I want to just really focus on GameStop. I think that's kind of ultimately what happened, and also the board wanted to go a different way with things. Yeah, Sherman has a lot of shares. Okay, awesome. I thought so. She was the only one left from the executive leadership on the old team under George Sherman. They never bought shares, and she would always sell shares to pay taxes or random BS. Oh, good looks, Jay. I didn't even realize that, actually. Yeah, I thought I saw a filing of hers potentially with the sell. But yeah, I mean, I understand for the taxes, but at the same time, yeah, maybe she was there a little prior and, he moved her up, but then just, like I said, maybe it was like just a lot. And she's like, damn, I didn't realize this is what this guy is going to be doing out here. This is crazy. Okay. Let's see. I don't know, this is recent acquisitions. And 6-9. That's totally, I think that's intentional in some shape or form. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. But it is funny, because Ryan Cohen's all about memes and he buys on like 6-9. Like, gotta laugh a little bit. Not that it necessarily means anything. And, look, we're at that price now, so who says he couldn't buy more, right? Potentially. So, also, another thing to bounce or circle back to, so to speak. I mentioned before that I think it's very likely they do dividends. If you look at a lot of the stocks he owns, because he also owns like bank stocks, or he owns Wells Fargo, he owns Apple. these are companies that are doing dividends. So let's see. Oh, it only has these two here, but I know he's mentioned, or maybe it's not under RC Ventures, it's just under him personally, in which he doesn't have to file, or he doesn't even have to file if it's not over 10% ownership. So I guess that's the situation. But it came out that he's bought Nordstrom. They have a dividend. Wells Fargo has a dividend. Apple has a dividend. I think he's in Baba. I don't think they have a dividend though. Stock dividend. Do they? They might. Yeah, 0. Yep. So yeah, not necessarily, but I just think with his large ownership, it makes a lot of sense. And then also in one of the interviews, like I think the Toast interview for Ryan Cohn, he said like RC Ventures, like you're looking at the whole staff right here, like it's just him. Like he obviously has like his lawyers or his network, of course, but I don't think he has like this huge. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? He's a sarcastic kind of guy, and he doesn't like to reveal a lot. So I'm sure he has some kind of team. But I'm saying like I don't think like RC Ventures is this big managed thing. I think it's just him really running that, and he just uses his network to keep everything in good order for it. But his real work is with GameStop. You know, he's not out here investing in private equity, or as far as I'm aware, you know, or doing like his energy seems to be focused with GameStop, especially now that he took on the CEO position or general man. Well, the other guy's general manager now, Robinson. So CEO, but you know, head of everything, or he had another maybe unofficial title. I kind of forgot, but he's very much involved. And also bouncing back to another idea that in the Toast interview, he said like, "Oh, I didn't want to be CEO again because when I was at a Chewy, I have to be all in. You're ahead of everything, in charge of everything that goes wrong. I wanted a position where I'd be in control, but not under that same stress or strain, under that same strain, so to speak." That's kind of what he said. Paraphrasing here, or just over explaining, whatever you want to call it. And then he said that at the time of the interview, and now he is CEO as well as chairman, and he's bought more shares. So I think something's changed, and maybe he realized, hey, you know what? I'm watching how this is going, and like I have a lot of control as chairman, and I'm guiding in the direction I want, but this is not going as fast or as effectively, or as effective as I think it can be, because I'm not like right there on the front lines, and I know I can take this to the next level if I just become CEO. And I feel like that's kind of the mentality he has, and potentially his ideology. So we'll see. You know, of course, that's just my thought process, but I just know myself, and that's how I would think if like I feel like I was in that spot. I'm like, we're doing good, but we're not doing great. Like, and I know if I was there, I could have changed a few things, or I would just make it happen. Like, you know what I mean? He has that self confidence, and he has enough vested interest. I think he was like, okay, you know what? And also, all these other people are very interested in the stock, and or you know, my stockholders are interested or have faith in me. Let me take it to even another level, right? Of course, I think that's in his mind in some sense or another, but at the same time, I think he's always going to do what's best for him, right? Because that's what I always say, right? Do what's best for you as an individual, whether it's trading in stocks, investing in stocks, right? That's kind of what I say. Like, so I'm saying also, I think he would do what's best for him, and he realized what's best for me and this company and everything as a whole is being chairman and CEO and just running this company from the tip top, guiding it in its absolute direction it needs to go, and being complete captain of the ship. Doesn't mean he can't have a team at all. And I think also just people from within, promoting from within, is a nice thing to see because they're familiar with the company and they recognize, okay, I can work next to Ryan Cohn now and I can continue to work and this company can succeed. And if I'm succeeding with him, like I'm going to reap the benefits because clearly he has way more money in this thing than I do. That's what I would be thinking if I was another executive working next to him and I got a chance to be promoted. I'd be like, okay, well, if I want to accumulate a lot of wealth, or just increase my wealth, even if I'm already pretty wealthy, I probably want to follow this guy who has millions of dollars invested in this thing. Actually, I'm sorry, a stake worth like over $1 billion. So, or no, not at this time. Not at this time, but a very, very large stake in the company that he's buying with his own money. And by the way, he's not even being compensated anything. So I think you have to understand when you're promoted from within, like what you're getting yourself into. Whereas maybe some people hired initially are kind of like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work. I've always done a lot of work in my career, but now it's like when you really see it after a while, because he's been there a while, really guiding the company for a while. The people who really want to be on that wave stay there. I mean, it's kind of the same, and not exactly how Elon went to Twitter. Now it's X, right? And he wiped out tons of people, and he's like, sorry, we don't really need all these employees, and this is kind of the only way to fix this. And I'm not saying GameStop is in the same position at all. I'm in no way saying that's the exact same thing. I'm just saying there are situations where you can downsize and you can have a small but extremely effective team and then compensate them very handsomely as the company succeeds by just narrowing down. And on top of it, you're cutting costs in the short term, and then if you start compensating in shares in the future, and then you can raise base salary as the company continues to succeed. All these things start to come together. And I think it's also, a learning process for Ryan in some sense, because if you think about it, he started Chewy completely. He's never bought into a company and then ran everything. Yes, he's invested in other stocks, and yes, he ran Chewy from the very beginning all the way up till the point it was sold for the highest amount for any e-commerce buyout at that time period. But this is a whole new game for him. So I also think it was partly him adapting and having to understand. But of course, this is also all coming from a bullish perspective. So, like Ryan Cohen says, and I think he would respect this, we don't even have to believe that he's this or that he's that. Let's let the numbers do the talking. He's going to put in the work, and let's see what the results show. And this our next earnings is absolutely pivotal, whatever the word is. Yeah, pivotal. But I don't think it's that pivotal in this. I keep repeating that word now. But it's not the end of the world if it's not negative, but it is very unfortunate if it comes in lower than the EPS and net income from last year for the same quarter. So I want to see improvement over quarter two of 2022. So just quarter over quarter improvement for the same quarter last year. And then ideally, in the lower part of negative, if not positive, I'm still going to think a little harder and do a little more research and just conceptualizing before I give an official like Tetron estimate like I kind of did last time. Like I have it pulled up here. See, I had estimated 1 cent or just a slight profit in Q1. A little bit too optimistic. Didn't work out as such. I didn't put in the Wall Street amount, but it was basically this times 3, which would just be 36, so negative 36 million actually, just to be roughly. Because they have about 304 million shares, or you could say 37 million, whatever, because they're a little bit more. But yeah, that's how I got the 3.04 estimate, which, I think, could we see a number like this? Absolutely. And I think anything break even or above would be phenomenal to see, because it's still in a time period where I feel like consumer spending is improving a little bit. And also Q1, a lot of people are tapped out after the holidays from spending. And, also GameStop has GameStop Pro now, and I'm pretty sure that's going to come in. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. It's something I have to still wrap my head around. I haven't been able to quite figure it out yet. That if they upgraded GameStop Pro from $15 a year to $25, is that additional $10 per person being recognized? But also there's potential some people don't upgrade, so I guess that could be a factor as well. But I think it just helps a little bit overall. So we'll see about that. And like I said, I think if any slightly net positive number, they're in pretty good shape in moving forwards, and it really just shows the cost cutting effectiveness. And they will have to continue doing it moving forward. So it's just 1 quarter. And the big thing is, can they make the full year profitable? So even if, let's say, we get a quarter of, let's say, a 10-cent loss, then next quarter we get, right, like, just to completely be separate here. Let's say Q2, we get a 10-cent loss. Then Q3, we get a 2-cent loss, right? And then Q4, we make a profit of, let's say, even just 50 cents. 50 cents minus 2 minus 10 minus 17, you're still at minus 29. So 50 cents minus 29 cents per share would be a net profit of 21 cents per share for the year. And that would be net EPS positive for the past year, with the most recent quarter being positive. And if GameStop could be at the necessary market cap to be in the S&P 500, things start to get very interesting. Um, and also, if I'm GameStop and then we're just turning profitable, right, and we have excess cash, hey, we need to be at a certain market cap to be eligible for the S&P. That's the last thing we need. Seems like a great time to start potentially buying back stock. That's just kind of where my head's at. And then also that'd be, another several months or probably close to even a year, going but into the time Q4 is actually reported. Well, I guess more like 8 or 9 months, but that's still a lot more interest they can accumulate in a high interest rate environment on their cash reserves and just marketable securities. So just all food for thought there. I know shout out Morantz. He's mentioned the S&P 500 and even put that on my radar in the first place when I've just been starting out with everything and didn't even really think about that. And I'm like, damn, he's really right. And it makes a lot of sense to go in that direction. But then also I always wondered, is there going to be like a vote and it's like, oh, sorry, we're not letting GameStop in because of this, or something. But then also I think there's the potential. Shout out Kyoto if you guys know him. He's Boys and Morantz. I believe he had brought up a great counter argument about DRS. And it's like, well, if shares are directly registered and it's decreasing the volume, and then limited volume is a factor in GameStop not going to the S&P, that wouldn't be so great. So I do think, though, just the counter to that would kind of be as long as the company's improving and growing, that brings trading volume back, and good news eventually coming out brings trading volume, and that can kind of solve that problem. Because overall, I still personally feel the best with my shares directly registered, but that's me as an individual, and everybody always has to make their own individual decision before directly registering your shares. Like, know exactly what it means, know about computer share, do your research, understand before you take any action with your money ever in general. But yeah, let me hit the chat. Sorry, guys, I've been totally slacking. Between ex-CFO and old CFO, I think that Ryan Cohen was meeting when he said leadership need that rest invest. He wants people that are going to work hard and sweat, make things happen. And then the big old Twitter that he sent out saying, work hard or literally leave, just straight up, and he meant it. Yeah, dude, Jay, you're spitting fire in the chat right now. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't see this earlier. George Sherman's good. He hasn't sold any shares. He's holding them for the long term. He knows what's happening. But I was just saying he's part of the old leadership, and then he doesn't want to buy. Makes sense. Makes sense. Oh yeah, and she mostly acquired shares through PSUs and RSUs, and then sell some from time to time to pay taxes. Like I said, she's the only one left as far as I knew from the old ownership. Freshmaker's correct. Oh wait, do I have all the chat? Yeah. Ryan Cohen is the largest shareholder of GameStop, and he's also the largest individual retail shareholder of Apple, and hasn't sold any shares after many years, and only he buys and accumulates more and more. Yeah, that's definitely a style. So I think dividends only make sense to come. Yeah, he moved her up and gave her a chance, and then he removed Mike Recupero? Yeah, dude. Shout out to you, Jay. Thank you so much for all that information. Catching me up on everything. Bringing my head back to speed here. Today, I traded my PS4 Pro for a PS5 at GameStop. I think they can reach a profit in Q2. Let's go, Freshmaker. Nice. Hey, yeah, honestly, if you're not using your PS4, why not trade it in, right? Hey, a few bucks. People are like, oh, you get nothing for my console. All these like memes. It's like, what do you expect to get when you're getting something? Most people get nothing for their old stuff. Like it's comical. But yeah, I think it's definitely possible to reach a profit in Q2. Sorry, I was on a total tangent there. But yeah, I think it's certainly possible. Also, GameStop could legally do a share buybacks themselves, 100 million too, and really burn shorts at any time, as well as gain more value for their own company whenever. Exactly, Jay. That's a great point. Yeah, it could happen sooner than the brink of profitability and entering the S&P. I think that's just maybe kind of what they're keeping on, because then I almost think, well, why haven't they yet with the stock price the way it's been for the past half a year? But also, they're still moving things around, turning things around. But you're right. There is still $100 million worth of share buybacks that can be done at any time without the board needing to approve it. I think it'd be really interesting though if the board ever issued a vote, like if next year to vote there was a vote to expand or I don't think you even have to vote on this. It's something I'd have to check on, but to expand the current or reissue a new share repurchase program up to like 500 million or a bigger dollar amount, because it's all of a sudden like, whoa, they can buy back a lot of stock. Not that they're necessarily going to do it like that, but it's just more of a threat that they can to anybody betting against it or just short, whatever you want to look at it as. However, when they do, I think it will very positively impact the stock because of the limited volume. Absolutely, GameStop has number one, baby. Exactly. With the rise in price for the pro memberships, I think we see a drop in members, but overall, it could be more money for GameStop. That's a good point, Freshmaker. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are like, you know what, maybe I don't need this, but there's also a lot of people like us that are like, you know what, I love GameStop. I'm definitely doing this. And I stopped in to the local GameStop by my girlfriend's house the other day, and I don't think I'd been to that one yet. No, yeah, I hadn't been to that one yet because it's a little farther from me. But I went over there and I was like, oh, okay. Then I didn't wind up getting anything. I actually just bought a bunch of GameStop bags. I'm like, all right, I just need these bags. But yeah, and the employee was pretty cool, and it's pretty much just one guy running it. And of course, there's probably like a person or two in the back. You can't have just one person in a building. I'd imagine you have at least one or two other people because you go to the bathroom or take a lunch break. So you probably have like just a couple other people in the back, just inventory management, all that stuff. But overall, what I'm saying is they don't always have like a million employees, so it's not like there's a lot of costs with that. So that's good at least that the business model is you don't have a lot of employees. People just pretty much freely look in, come up, make their purchase at the one cashier. Generally, how it goes. But of course, if it's Saturday, there's probably seeing two, and there's always, like I said, someone in the back working on other things and whatnot. But the guy I talked to, what did he say? He's like, yeah, the company's sending out like new notifications, but I don't know. He was chill, but like he wasn't like, like it wasn't giving me like any like, mind blowing information. He was just saying, yeah, and this and that. And he was talking fast and a lot, and also talking with my girlfriend. She was looking at the Hogwarts game because she loves, I might have even said that wrong, Harry Potter, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe we'll get it, but I don't know, that's like $60, and I don't even have a PS5, so I have to get on PS4. And he's like, we don't have a PS4. We don't have it here for PS4, but you go to this one. And I'm like, maybe, but I don't know. Also, my girlfriend's going to play the game like once. She's not that interested in it. So I was like, yeah, maybe we'll get something else. But yeah, I just wound up buying bags. So kind of a lame purchase, but still I had to buy at least something when I was there. I'm like, I got to buy something. But that brings me to another story that I just remembered. My buddy Mike that I was golfing with this weekend, shout out Mike. He was in my Tetron Plays Golf video, if you guys ever watched that a while back. But played golf with him again, and we were talking. He's like, yeah, some AMCs do like UFC, where you can watch UFC. And he went to it, and it was coming on, and it was like not coming on, and it's like starting, and then everyone's like, yo, where's the fights? Like, it's 10 o'clock, and by the way, I watched UFC. It was pretty good. I don't know if anyone caught it. And the one guy was fucking hilarious when he won. It was so funny. But wait, sorry. Let me finish. Yeah. So he was like, okay, yeah, I was at AMC and they were trying to get it on, and like someone's like, oh, it's not working. Sorry. And then he said the whole theater, just because it's a bunch of people, probably some of them are buzzing, I would imagine, like drinking, smoking, whatever. Because it's UFC and it's Saturday night. I mean, of course you're not supposed to do that, but who knows, right? Maybe not even. Just people getting rowdy because they're there to watch it. And he said they just couldn't get it on, so people started chirping and like they were just like, "Oh, come on, what's going on?" And he said someone was like, "This is why your stock sucks." Like I just thought that was funny. Oh my god, sorry. Like I don't know, I just thought that was funny. But also then he said like someone's like, "Yo, what is it? It's like UFC 291 it's called or something like that." I don't know. He's like someone was like, "Yeah, yo, UFC 291's on, but if you don't put it on, it's about to be UFC 292 up in this bitch," or something like that. I don't even know. But just mad funny. But he said AMC refunded them all, so at least they did the right thing. Gotta appreciate that. But I don't know. I just thought that story was funny to share. But also, let's see. The media and all the people that have been running the FUD campaigns and the smear campaigns against Ryan have also probably really pissed the guy off now, and he's going to prove them all wrong. Excellent point, Jay. Excellent. Yeah, he's probably like, all right, you guys really are talking a lot of crap, and like, I know this is gonna work, but like, I really, really want it to work now. I think you're right. That's his perspective. Good points. But yeah, no, yeah, pretty comical about the AMC story with my friend. And yeah, no, golf was a good time. I got some more clips. I don't know if it's good enough to make a video. I was feeling like probably isn't, but we'll see. Um, Yeah, I got some more. We were gooning. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're bad. But yeah, golf's a good time. Yeah, it's funny. I always say I'm gonna wrap it up, and then I keep going forever. So yeah, I think right now I am really gonna wrap it up though. This was just a catch-up stream. You know, trying to get kind of caught up on everything. Zoom out, look at the big picture on GameStop. I got to start dropping some more videos. I'm starting to think, my streams should just continue to be ranty and just how I'm doing it. Like, I shouldn't change it too much. Like, add a little bit more structure. But really, what I want to do is present my main ideas in videos, and then just brainstorm in the streams and just talk with you guys in the chat and just go on rants because I feel like that's what streaming's about. And then I gotta present more like consistent ideas in videos. Of course, I'm still gonna do both, and I'm still just figuring this all out, and I'm gonna just keep continuing to figure it all out. And really, just this week, I'm gonna start putting more time back into things again. Get back on the grind. Keep improving myself as a person. I encourage everyone else to do that out there in every which way, mentally, physically, your intelligence, your career, whatever it is you want to work on. Like, you should do it. Like, you really just should. Like, the time is now. That's my inspirational message I'll leave you guys with. So, hope everyone out there has a great night.